Hey guys, Bike here, and I'm back again with another Last Epoch build guide video. This one's for the Bleed Hammerdin. So in my last build guide, which went live a couple days ago, I said, yeah, oh yeah, no, I changed it. I said, yeah. Hey guys, Bike here, and I'm back again with another Last Epoch build guide video. This one's for the Paladin, and it is Bleed Hammerdin, or Bleed Hammers, however you want to call it. Guys, this build is the truth. I'm telling you, I know I did my Ignite video and I said I had already played Bleed. Well, I've played it some more. It's the truth, and in my opinion, it's already done. We've killed Aberroth. We pushed 500 corruption. I didn't try to push it past that. Honestly, guys, I'm a little fatigued on hammers right now. This has been like 2.5 weeks of hammer builds, and I already had most of the gear. And on top of it, I didn't, create this build. I got this build from Maxroll. A link to their guide available in the description down below. So if you want to see like what min-max, hardcore, in-game, loot filter, all that, go to their website, check out their video. Volca does great videos. And great guides, but I wanted to create a guide just to show you like what I could do at 500 corruption against Aberroth with the current level of gear I have now, just to, see, is it worth your time? And I'm going to say, yes, it's definitely worth your time. You can go even more budget than I got, but right now mine's like a mid-tier setup. It's not mid-max, it's mid-tier, but let's go ahead. Let's jump into the game, go over some gameplay and all that. Oh, and by the way, if you're here for planners, in the description down below as well, like, subscribe, please do that. It helps out a lot. If not, I understand. Anyway, let's get it in there. Peace. All right, guys, gameplay. So, as you can see, it's very similar to the previous hammer builds I've done, actually more similar to the Ignite build that I've done. We'll just roll through here. You use an unspec shield charge just to kind of run through everything. You got the hammers following you in a vortex. They're hitting everything. They're applying tons of stacks of bleed. Everything's just dying in its wake. It does take a little bit of time to ramp up, but once it gets going, man, you'll just see health bars going. It's been very effective. It's a very fast farmer. Out of the hammer builds I've done, obviously, this one's a guide, and they have a different mindset. They went damage. I already had to put in a couple little tweaks just to make it a little bit more survivable. But this has been the squishiest hammer build I've done out of the three. But you can definitely tune that to your preference. If you want more damage, you can definitely get it. If you want more tankiness, you can definitely get it. It is pretty effective. Here we go. Let's look at these bosses right here. This is the Emperor of Corpses, and yeah, and goodbye. And then after that, the Harbinger comes up, and he's a little bit more tankier, right? He's definitely a little bit more tankier, but he doesn't last that much longer either. The biggest thing we got to watch out for is getting absolutely creamed. And here we go. Here is Aberroth. A lot more of the same story. If you want to see this full fight, I'll put it at the end of the video. It's like 2-3 minutes long. Yeah. Here we go. Aberroth is not lasting long. All right, let's jump into the game. Oh, all right. Just like always, gear, idol, blessings, and the like. Let's start here. So in the Maxroll guide, they call for a Leonine's. What they call for specifically is exalted health, and then physical penetration with bleed. Just more damage. Like, all of that is fine. All of that is fine. But I personally, there was a huge lack in the build, in the setup that they offered, of damage mitigation against dots. I was dying to dots quite frequently. So Leonine's is great, but I put on a Decayed Skull. Now here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. We have no critical strike avoidance, and we have no reduced bonus damage from critical strikes. So what does that mean? That means my only source of critical strike avoidance is the new blind mechanic, brought to us by Smite. Honestly, if I'm gonna push this build to I'm getting ready to move on to something else, but if I were to, you know, loop back around and push this build deeper into the end game, I would probably try and find like a good Leonines, or if I wanted to go the Decayed Skull route, I am sorry, I keep messing up all my buttons. This is what I want. Sorry. I'd probably take like a point or two in Blinding Flash. Not that I need the endurance, but this would give my all of my hits a chance to blind instead of just having to wait for the smites to blind. And, you know, especially against a big group of enemies, it's going to be hard to pinpoint which enemies you're going to be able to get to blind. So if you put it a point or two on Blinding Light, all of the enemies you will have a blind chance against all, like with all of your hammers, all of those enemies, you have a chance to inflict blind instead of just waiting for your smites. So this could be a good pickup, just 1 point here, and you're off to the races. So yeah, for right now, my only critical strike mitigation is coming from blind, but Decayed Skull gives so many good benefits, and we got some health out of here. But if you want more damage, grab yourself something like a Leonines, throw on some bleed duration, physical damage, that sort of thing, and you're off to the races. Champion Regalia of Life, what they called for was, you know, exalted health, physical pin with bleed duration, chance to bleed while wielding an axe. I didn't have any of that. I just threw on this this T7 health, strength, % health, and there you go. Dragonbone Axe is the closest I got, I think. Well, except for the uniques. I think in terms of their exalted, what they were calling for in the build is the closest. I got 2 of the affixes. They call for exalted chance to bleed on hit, critical strike multiplier, and then chance to chill. That's just a nice, great one to have all around. Chance to chill, though, I guess you could do chance to blind on your axe, but I feel like it's kind of wasting. You can just put 1 point in the Paladin skill tree and go from there. So, I mean, maybe not. Chance to chill, I think, is overall better. And then physical % damage. This melee physical damage right here is going to do absolutely nothing for us. Excuse me for 1 moment. All right. Otherwise, this is the base you want because it has a nice chance to bleed. Like, you can get up to 100% on this. I have a little bit more forging potential, so if I ever, you know, want to become a man, I can try and re-roll that implicit, see if I can get something better. But for now, that's where we're at. Reigns, these bases are not good. The bases right here are not good. But the rolls are nice. So I went in a different direction. I got mana regen, throwing attack speed, sealed the throwing damage, health, T7 block chance. Right? T7 block chance and block effectiveness. I consider this a very nice ring. This is very nice, except for the fact that it's on a base that we can't use whatsoever. We have no minions. But nonetheless, this is nice. I could even make a copy of this in the future with Rune of Creation. So this is a good ring. Over here, similar story. Actually, I guess I could just make a copy of this and put it over here. Honestly, that's not a half bad idea. That's not a half bad idea at all. I put endurance on here because originally I needed the endurance, but then what I ended up doing was taking the endurance blessing instead of armor. We'll go over that in the blessing section. So yeah, main things you're going to want is throwing attack speed and throwing damage minus mana cost. And then I just wanted that extra block effectiveness, but no, these are not too bad. Okay. I need a spider silk belt. They call for a whole bunch of other stuff, physical damage, mana regen, all that. So far, the mana regen from this ring and from Nihilus have been fine. That's been good enough for me. So this is a generic spider silk belt that I've had since like day 2, day 3 of the cycle. I've used it in so many different builds. It's very generic, exalted health, hybrid health, chance to cleanse, And then we have a really high poison and cold resistance. This is good. This is good. I like it. I like it. Can definitely go better. I would prefer like a T7 hybrid health or percent health, but nonetheless, this is good. Salt the Wound. So normally my mind would tell me more throwing his attack speed, try and get more of it. But honestly, I think health was the right way to go. In the guide, they call for this slot, they call for like a T7 hybrid health. I don't have one of those. I was able to get a T6 regular health, and that's good enough for me. But yeah, Salt the Wound, very good. Lots of physical penetration with bleed. Yes, very good. I got close with this. They call for a T7 movement speed and then obviously max on that bleed duration. Didn't get there, but this is like the junior version, T6 movement speed and okay bleed duration. Blood of the Exile, great pair of boots. I would love if I had like a 2LP to get like a T7 movement speed and then like a T5 hybrid health. That would be even nice, even better. But yeah, this one's good. Valdir's Chalice, chance to bleed is our only source of leech right here. Right now we do heal from the smites, but that's only if the smite lands directly on top of you when you're hitting the enemy, so you can't always count for that. But 2% physical damage over time leeches health. This is good. This has kept me alive many times. And then on top of it, we get the chance to bleed on hit, the bleed duration. The build guide calls for like a T7 critical strike multiplier and chance to apply frailty. All I got was chance to apply frailty. So I could definitely mid-max this better, but yeah, this Chalice is great. Let's go to the shield. This is pretty much what they called for, except they want everything maxed. The chance to bleed on hit maxed. I got pretty close, and I got a max T7 block chance. A little feather in my cap on this one. This is the closest to their build guide I have gotten. Now, in the build guide, they call for an Aurora's Time Glass. It gives you more attack speed, gives you endurance, and I'm guessing this is how Volca was dealing with, damage that would kill you, is because if you get hurt enough, if you fall below a certain threshold, but you don't die, you actually, let's read Aurora's Time Glass together. It's been a while. I don't have a good one. So if damage leaves you below 30% health and doesn't kill you, you're restored to full health. You gain ward equal to the health restored, and all enemies are slowed, and you gain haste for 5 seconds. So this is good. This is definitely good. And this is probably how he's using to, this is probably what he's using to survive. Would definitely recommend trying to get a good one. I don't have a good one at all. I have one with 1 LP, but for the most part, I didn't want to pass up on this Nihilist. But if you're having the same problems I'm doing and you want to try and follow the build guide, use Aurora's Time Glass, see what that does for you. Leave a comment down below. This could definitely be a game changer. I didn't even try it. I had this really nice Nihilist. I needed the mana regen, so I went with that. And this change is helping me stay alive, but Aurora's Time Glass could help you just keep slamming. That increased attack speed, ward retention might be good for you. Anyway, that is the gear. Let's go over the idols. This will be pretty quick. You need 2 different kinds of idols. You need these large wounding idols. Let's close that. You need these large wounding idols. So bleed duration, physical damage over time. This is very close to a maxed idol. So you can get up to 60% on the physical damage over time and 27% on the bleed duration. I'm prioritizing bleed duration over physical damage over time. So all of these have the affixes, but I put anything with over 20 bleed duration, right? So like this one's only 25% physical damage over time, but 24% bleed duration, same thing over here. So these are all pretty good. This is what makes bleed on Sentinel super powerful. This is a huge amount of bleed duration because like any class can use these items, right? Any class can, well, I don't think this gives bleed duration, but any class can use these items, but only Sentinels get this specific setup. These are considered Sentinel affixes on Sentinel idols. So there you go. And then chance to cast smite and block effectiveness. Obviously, you would probably want 25%, but I prioritize the block effectiveness. I just wanted to stay alive longer. Let's go over to the blessings. So whatever you want here, whatever you want here. Here, same story. Here, same story. Here, same story. Whatever you want. Those are just your drop rate increases. This one's an XP increase. But let's go over the blessings that you're actually going to want. Critical strike multiplier. All right, you could also take health. You could take critical strike chance. I would not recommend it. We're not a crit build. Critical strike multiplier is going to go hand in hand with salt the wound. That's why you want critical strike multiplier. In ending the storm, if your lightning resistance is good, you can go for something like health regen or maybe even mana, but lightning resistance is probably going to be your number one pickup here. Reign of Dragons. This is one of the few rare builds that doesn't use critical strike avoidant. Well, on Sentinel, I'm sure on other classes that have like poison, necrotic, all that they might use something else, but at least on Sentinel, one of the few builds that doesn't use the critical strike avoidance blessing or the all res blessing. This is where we can get a massive amount of chance to bleed on hit. Is this blessing right here. Comes from the Emperor of Corpses. I've been farming that timeline trying to get a better one. I took it from 89% all the way to 99% just by killing them over and over again. One day I might get 100%, but we'll go from there. So in the guide they call for armor here. I needed the endurance. I'm not using Aurora's Time Glass. I only had 12% on my one ring. And other than what I'm getting from the from the Holy Aura, excuse me, I'm sorry, I gapped on that one. Other than what I'm getting from Holy Aura, the Rain, Holy Aura, and this is what's giving me. I'm actually overcapped on endurance right now. I'm at 76%, so we could fine tune that. But this is where the massive amount is. If your endurance is taken care of, you're going to want to take flat armor. Over here, you're going to want the block chance, block effectiveness. It just gives us more survivability, and then we already went over that. All right, let's jump into the skills. So mine's a little bit different because I'm using Nihilus, which is giving me +2 to everything. Right? So I was able to take a few extra points in a couple different places. So the guide on max roll looks exactly like this, except I put my extra 2 points in rapid throw. But yeah, you want your 5 points in weighted hammers, 5 points in rapid throw, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1.26 brings our hammer throw down to 3 mana cost. We can sustain that with our mana regen. Let's go over to Holy Aura. I'm sorry, I'm just blanking here. I'm sorry, chat. So 5 in Shelter of the Storm, more elemental resistance, more endurance. 2 points in Vital Boon, 1 point in Purification. This gives us a second source of Cleanse. Cleanse is very important. 5 points in Call to Arms, very important. 50% increase to physical damage. And then when you press Holy Aura, everything is doubled, right? So this becomes 100% for 4 seconds. Really boosts the damage of your bleed. I put 3 points in Strength from Afar and 3 points in Expedite. Gives us a haste chance, throwing attack speed. And then 3 points in Fanaticism for even more attack speed. All right, this is virtually unchanged from my Ignite setup. Gate, so Rift, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. Cooldown, 2 points in Warped Time. So if you're not using the Nihilus, you take these 2 points out, and then that's what you'd want. Okay, so for Smite, this is definitely set up way different than the way I had Ignite Hammer set up. So instead of taking any Ignite chance or even any more hit damage, we go up here and we get this Righteous Fury, 20% increased attack speed. Right? This one's very good if Smite has been cast. If Smite has hit an enemy recently, in the last 4 seconds, 20% attack speed. This is going off all the time, not as consistently, not as much as it used to, obviously with the idle changes, but there you go. 20% attack speed almost all the time when you're hitting an enemy. I put 4 points in Blinding Flash. In the original build guide, this called for 2. Obviously, we got an extra 2 points, so this is where we're getting the extra blind chance. This is where I'm putting all my eggs in the one basket of critical strike avoidance is right here. Yeah, 40% chance to blind on smite hit, and then 5 points, 5 points. Let's go over here. So I had a couple more points to deal with, so I went in a different direction. All right, so 4 and 1 just for, you know, some extra damage. And then Last Wish for a chance to summon without having to spend mana when we kill an enemy. 2 points, 4 points, 1, 1, 3. Gives us block chance per sigil. Now, normally we have 4 with, you know, the setup a lot of people do. But since I had extra points to deal with, I took them out of here and here. And with my extra 2 points, I came over here and I grabbed another sigil. We have 5 sigils. What this means is this is now 100% increased damage, and this is an extra 15% block chance. So my block chance right now is 74%. It now goes up to 89% when all sigils are active. This is a huge source of damage mitigation with the block chance. So that's why I went the way I did. If you don't have the extra points, don't even bother going over here. Just beef these up, beef that up, and you're off to the races. Let's get into the skill tree, or the passive tree. Yeah, passive tree. Okay, so a little bit different here. 30 points in Sentinel. Same setup as before, right? Except we put more points in Fearless for more vitality. That's 25 points, gets us over here, allows us to put 5 points in Blade Master. That gives us a 30% attack speed with an axe. We're using an axe. Right? Then, assuming you're leveling with this, I come over here, put at least 5 points in Volatile Reversal. You're going to want 5 points in Void Knight to get Volatile Reversal. Ultimately, you want 11 points here. You do 10 points to get the max amount of resistances and health, and then 1 point in Void Corruption to get even more critical strike multiplier. This gives us 11%. That's nice. I like that. Come over here, grab your 3 points in Steel Aegis to get your block chance, and then I would hold off on these until a little bit later, and then invest your points over here. 8 points, 10 points, 1 point for more block chance. 6 points for that necrotic resistance. This one might be a little confusing because we're not really trying to do too much spell damage. We're not trying to really hardcore boost the damage to smite, but it's the armor. The 400 armor with the shield, it's huge. It's great for survivability. That's what the guide calls for. That's what I took. And then 1 point here for an extra 5% block chance. 8 points for 120% throwing bleed chance. But then we have a chance to get, we have a higher chance to bleed on ourselves when we take a hit. But we get some benefits with that. Take 7 points here, we get the 49% physical penetration with bleed. But if we take a hit, it's called penance, right? If we get hit and we're bleeding from an enemy who hit us and caused that bleed effect, that is considered penance. If you received a stack, you have a chance to be granted 49% damage and chance to be granted damage 49%, and that damage is 49% increase. This is good, and plus the 49% physical penetration with bleed. Then 12 points with Reverence of Duality, health, damage, healing, effectiveness, mana. We don't take any points in Light of Raye because we're not doing fire, we're not doing lightning, and the movement speed is not worth the points. Then we got the last points that we would spend would go into the Forge Guard tree. 5 points in Weapons Master to get that 75% increased chance to bleed with an axe. And then the final points would go into Unflinching, which would give us health, stun avoidance, and all that sort of thing. We don't care about minion stun immunity. As you can see, I'm almost level 100. My last point would go right here. All right, guys, that is the build. Tried to keep it short and sweet, mostly because there was already an established build guide. I'm basically saying go check that one out. But if you want to see what little difference I did, not much. you can check it out here. Stick around if you want to see the full Aberroth fight. Like I said, it's not that long, but it'll be coming on right after this. And yeah, hope to catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Such wasted potential. Orbis would have welcomed you. You fight for nothing! Weak and worthless! The void hungers! See the beauty we were denied. Terror turned her back on us. Weak and worthless! The gods tore our world apart. They deserved their fate. The void comes. We treated the world no better. Death is our legacy. Oblivion. The world called to Orbis. This is his answer. The void hungers. You fight for nothing. The void hungers. Weak and worthless.